Hey everybody, it's Ben. God bless y'all. This is just sort of I don't know, what do you call it, a podcast or a BenCast? That's what we'll call it because I don't know what else to call it right now. Um, but it's not really anything worth taking lightly. Like a lot's been going on in America, and it's sort of just a time of chaos. On September 10th, 12 days ago, Charlie Kirk was shot. And for me, that's like a turning point in America where normal normal is gone because what Charlie Kirk is psychologically, like, to some people, to a lot of people on the left, he's a monster, and a lot of people on the right, he's them. And so psychologically, with Kirk's passing, Charlie Kirk's passing, I don't know if America can psychologically recover. Now, I don't speak with any like hard authority. I'm just taking a look and saying what I see. You know, a wife lost her husband, and children lost their dad. I don't know if he has a child or multiple children, but they lost their dad that day. And the divide politically in America, it's too deep right now. It's way too deep right now. And so one of the background questions was was this lone gunman alone? What was he, just a crazy political guy who, was acting on his own, or was he backed by somebody? And we don't know. We don't know. And I can't say anything. Um, I have to be careful. Like I don't have any hard evidence. This is just my me looking at the matter myself. Um, and so I have to be careful what I say. It's hard to know what's real anymore, like who controls the narrative. And I'm not trying to be conspiracy guy. I'm just trying to say, like, one of the things was the economic manipulation during Biden and now Trump's presidency. Now, I'm not saying it was. I apologize. I'm not saying it was manipulation. But what it seemed like was during Biden's presidency, they said the economy was great, and it felt like things got tougher. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. During Trump's presidency, when he fires the labor statistics guy, I don't know who he is exactly, but the guy who was in charge of the numbers, when he fires him, and what it feels like again is the president, this time Trump, is saying the economy's great, but it doesn't feel like it. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm uneducated. Maybe I'm misinformed. But it just feels like the strategy that people take now is, I don't know. I don't know if you can trust the numbers or the statistics or anything anymore now, and it's hard. And as a Christian, I'm not saying we should be rebellious or do anything hasty. I'm just saying, from my perspective, I don't know if I can trust any sort of numbers that they're throwing around about the economy or any sort of narrative or even like some shooter going down. I'm not saying the shooting didn't happen, but I'm just saying, like, I'm me psychologically, I'm in such a state where I don't know if I can even, I don't know, like, what's going on behind the scenes anymore. Like, who knows? And that morning on the 10th, I woke up thinking to myself, I'm drowning in debt. I'm broke. I'm not getting paid enough. Um, the state and the country has all these crazy sort of bureaucracy and laws going on. I personally don't have a girlfriend, and the only reason to stay right now is like my parents and church group. And then the news of the assassination happened. So I was already like fed up to here, like I just want to go, I just want to leave America. And then the assassination attempt happened, along with the school shooting, another school shooting. Um, Online, there was a call for the Civil War. I thought that was crazy. Because when there's a civil war, food and electricity is going to be hit. We should not have people being smug about Kirk's death, and we shouldn't have, especially Christians, getting riled up for calls of war with our own Americans. Um, because if America goes to civil war, the supply chain gets messed up, and you have things like what if your uncle can't get his chemo? What if your aunt can't get her insulin? Cities probably won't get food from a lot of the rural areas, and the rural areas growing the food won't be able to get their foreign or maybe just outside fertilizer and pesticides. Like what exactly are we planning to do when there's a civil war and our entire system of food and energy and medical stuff and government paperwork gets destroyed on top of having blood in the streets? On top of having blood in the streets. Um, it's just these are dark times. These are dark times. And the fact that a school shooting happened the same day, school shooting happened the same day as a political assassination. America is almost unlivable. It's gotten to the point where it's almost unlivable. When things are getting this bad, politically, psychologically, mental health wise, economically, fiscally, and your own physical health is destroyed by chemicals everywhere and the junk food that you have to eat. You don't have no one's forcing you to eat the junk food, but and they mess with the FDA and they make us eat all sorts of stuff. Like every level of your life, like it feels like something is getting piled on. And so I like when you're working a job, sometimes you eat the fast food because it's there. So I take back my statement saying you have to eat the fast food, but the way the society is built up, it's it's so hard to push back against, especially if you have a real job. And then we had the senseless murder of the Ukrainian woman Irina Zarutska, I think by DeCarlos Brown. I might be getting that messed up. Um, and you got people calling for race war, not race war, but racially people are getting riled up. So another death, another murder. It's like this country's getting primed and riled up for anger and for murder. Like it feels like we're getting pushed into that point. And so I just have to wonder, like, what is Satan doing? What is the enemy doing? Why are we getting riled up in such a frenzy? And on top of that, we have murmurs of World War III. And Jesus said not to stress out about it. Russia, I believe, was flying in Poland's airspace with drones or planes. I can't remember. Um, you know, it's either going to happen or it isn't. And it's just another bit of like almost like psychological warfare put on us, where it's like, all right, America's having trouble financially, and I think the rest of the world, or the developed world, or the big time players are kind of like having to deal with these economies grinding down. And I'm not an expert, I'm not a financial advisor or expert, but I wonder if there's only so much room in the future, and I think it's a very dark future that they're going to try to create. Biblically, Israel. I believe that in prophecy, there's a lot of things revolving the land and the nation of Israel. Poll wise, Gen Z, I think for the most part, does not like Israel. I think a lot of baby boomers more like Israel, but the upcoming generation, the alt left, the alt right, the people burnt out by the institutions and their failures because they're rotting, um, I think it's very possible that we'll see, if America lives that long, we'll see America, turning their back on Israel or even being against Israel. And I don't know how that plays in the prophecy. I am not a prophet. I don't even know if America will last that long. But looking at the future demographics, we got to figure out what might happen. No, we don't. We just have to have faith. So I'm sorry, guys. We just have to have faith. I'm just trying to explain the thoughts in my head. They're not always right. Um, the history. I believe one of Hamas's charters had the genocide of the Jews in it, and they later changed it, and the Palestinians voted them in. Um, Biblically, I think there's a precedent where, I will bless those who bless you, I will curse those who curse you. Um, that original Palestinian charter for the genocide of the Jews, I can't remember if it's the original. It's hard, guys. It's hard to keep up with every bit of information. But that charter, which originally called for the annihilation of the Jews, and then the attack on October 7th, this might be a biblical move. This might be a real biblical thing happening right now. Because for the rebuilding of the third temple, they got to get rid of the Dome of the Rock. And that's going to cause a huge disruption in the Muslim Arabic world because the Jews are surrounded by them. And so when that moment happens, that's like a religious strike against all of the Muslim world, the Sunni and the Shia, the big players, Saudi Arabia, Iran, and Afghanistan. I say Afghanistan because America's history of Afghanistan. And we have things about the red heifer, the Feast of the Trumpets, all that. Another huge biblical thing that might be going down. And with the tax break that the rich people got and the big beautiful bill and grocery prices going up, I don't know how they expect us to live if they're just going to replace us with AI, put us on the universal basic income, which is basically socialism. Um, and I wonder if when AI replaces all the jobs, they might they might roll out universal basic income. Maybe it's a cryptocurrency or an online currency. And we have to watch out if that's the mark of the beast. That they will funnel us if this happens. I'm not saying this will. I'm not predicting. I'm not a prophet. If they roll out universal basic income because you won't have jobs, will that be the mark of the beast? And so as Christians, we have to constantly watch out. And the Epstein thing going on in America, the big question is was Trump really a part of that ring? And are they giving us a cover story? Are they still hiding it? You know, because Epstein was a rich sex trafficker and solicited a minor for sexual things. And it is a deep and horrible and atrocious evil. And we have no connect. We don't know if the president was a part of that. How much did he know? Was he an FBI guy who was spying on Epstein or something? I don't. I don't know. I don't know. But Trump Trump did say he can grab women by the you know what because he's powerful and they let him. And but that's not evidence. of him being connected to Epstein. But for me, it's a huge, you know, red flag, orange flag, yellow flag on that situation. But it's not evidence. I can't say he is or he isn't. I fully am. It's just dark times. These are dark, dark times. Um, at the end of the day, Trump sold an altered version of the Bible with his signature on it for $1,000. ICE is secret police. I don't see any accountability for them. You know, the Nazis had secret police, the communists have secret police, all the authoritarians have secret police, and ICE, for a lot of parts, feels like an unaccountable system, and it's growing. And then we're seeing the use of the National Guard, the militarization of America, and it's just horrible. It's horrible. Like, America's becoming more internally militaristic against its own people, against the people that disagree with, not disagree with the current administration. I'm sorry about that, guys. But, you know, calling it the Department of War is horrible. Because what are we saying as a nation? What is the message that we're giving out? Then again, Department of War is not necessarily bad, but why is he trying to stoke us up? Why? And the Hyundai plant deportation, where the Koreans had legal visas, they did everything legally in the U.S. by our laws, and they were detained by ICE. They were detained by ICE, and they had legal visas, meaning our country breaks its own rules, breaks its own laws to detain these Koreans who were helping us and who were investing in our country and who were building a factory here. Or not building, I don't even remember. But they were working with legal visas. They're not illegal immigrants. They were legal people with legal visas. And then we have Alligator Alcatraz. Essentially, Alligator Alcatraz is celebrating people getting eaten by alligators. It's such a cruel and heartless and cold name. Like, if we're supposed to love God, love others, love our enemies, we're gonna make an Alcatraz again, but this time with alligators. It's so ridiculous and so vile, just in the name. And Peter Thiel, his mass data information gathering, and in Palantir, a private company which essentially mass gathers data. Think of the Patriot Act, and how it works with the government. And he calls himself Christian. He is an unrepentant homosexual, and he seems pretty neutral or even pro homosexuality, transsexuality, and even transhumanism. From his interview, he doesn't really sound like he has a problem with it. And the interviewer talked to him and said, "Aren't you? What if you create this system which helps the Antichrist?" And I don't feel like Peter Thiel had a good answer. And Peter Thiel is a heavy investor in politics and lifted up J.D. Vance. And my dad made a good point. Who we didn't what did we know about J.D. Vance before he became vice president? Right? But Peter Thiel lifted him up. And you know, I think Peter Thiel has a heretical um, version of Christianity, which seems pretty comfortable and okay with sin. So that's a red flag. He's a tech guy with it's essentially spying on everybody, gathering data. It's illegal, but it essentially, you know, if you wanted to envision a dystopia like 1948 or all the other dystopian books, having a system which mass gathers data of its people, of its citizens, of everything across the world, and maybe using an AI to sort through it. That um, sounds pretty bad. It sounds pretty dystopian, and this exists. I don't know about the AI part, but I think they're interested in the AI part, definitely. Um, a lot of young people that I'm talking to, they're burned out Zoomers. They're burned out Zoomers because of the COVID lockdowns, the wars, the economy. There a lot of the Gen Z that I'm talking to, men and women, um, a lot of them are burned out, and I'm probably one of them. Every day I'm exhausted between like what chaos is going to happen now. Recently, me and my family got COVID. So if you're in the South, watch out. There might be another round of COVID going around. And when you're looking for a job in this market, post tariffs, everything's going to funnel down. Everybody's got to lock down on their range because now the tariffs makes everything more expensive. There's less people spending money. There just might be less jobs now. And Trump fired the job reporting guy originally. He didn't have a problem with him until the report made him look bad or not to Trump's liking. And essentially, the internet is making us crazy. There's too much information and misinformation. You got true stuff, you got false stuff, you got all the lies, all the AI, and the negative stuff sticks out, and you paint the whole world under that negative brush. But and that messes with your brain. And I can only see with AI things getting worse. Things getting worse. And essentially, I want to move to Canada. I want to get out here. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I should stay here, but it's too much. It's just too much all the time. So stay safe. God bless y'all. Bye bye.